This is Jennifer Keel. It's February 24th, 2014. I'm here on Balboa Island Museum and Historical Society with Bill Maxwell, who will be sharing some stories about the island. Would you please begin by sharing the story of Ruth with this picture here in the kindergarten class?
Ruth Finley, whose parents started the grocery store, was one of the nicest, sweetest ladies you could ever meet. Unfortunately, she probably married the wrong man. That's all I'm going to say about her. But she's a great lady. I don't know other people. The other part was, everybody's dying. I'm the only one left. She was younger than me.
Wow.
Older than me. No, younger, sorry.
Would you share why Balboa Island holds such a special place in your heart?
It's changed. The rich people have moved in. In my day, when I first came here in '58, you could buy a house for $30,000. You could buy a bayfront for $55,000. And they were great days. That's why I kept buying houses. But unfortunately now, the rich have moved in and prices have gone to crazy limits. So ordinary people are being forced to move out. The only salvation in Ireland has been Proposition 13. Do you know what that is?
I'm not familiar with that legislation, but no.
She knows what it is. Proposition was a move to limit property taxes to 1% instead of going up and up and up. It's been a fantastic thing. And now the Democrats in the state are trying to overturn it.
How has it shaped the community from its early development? What was it like in '58 when you moved here?
Idyllic.
In what way?
Nobody came here in the winter.
Was
It was
it
empty.
a ghost town? That's what I hear from the early stories, that it was the destination spot for a vacation town during the summer
And Easter became a rebel when all the weird school kids came down fornicating.
When did that change? When did the community become more
It
permanent?
changed when the city or the Improvement Association said no more Easter rentals like to groups. When I moved in 50 years ago, we rented our house for Easter and we thought we were having 4 girls. It turned out we had about 24 with the mothers who allowed all kinds of activities to go on.
You shared
Because their poor darlings needed a rest from study.
You shared that you had 5 homes here. Were they all near each other? You moved
No,
several times?
wherever's a good buy, I would buy it.
Okay. Was there a particular reason for its location or its community value that you moved to those different streets within the community?
Again, to make money.
Simple as that. Do you have a favorite Balboa Island story that brings back fond memories of your childhood?
Yes,
or that
I used to own the toy store.
Okay. What was that like? What was the name of the store and what was it like?
The toy box, I think. Is it?
Yes.
I put the horse outside, a mechanical horse, and everybody complained because I was making money and they weren't. I made enough money to pay the rent on the store from the horse. And it's still there.
Right. It's remarkable. Do you have special holiday memories that relate to Balboa Island?
I've never spent a holiday on Balboa Island. I go to Europe.
Do you typically go to England, or is there other places that hold
I
special
think I've been
place?
to every country in the world.
That's fantastic. Would you...
I once took off with 3 children aged 2, 4, and 5 and had 9 months in a camper in Europe without a toilet. We had a lot of toilet paper.
Would you share any other special memories in general that you've had here? So maybe not pertaining to a holiday, but perhaps the community gatherings.
The what?
The community gatherings. Had you ever partake like in some of the potlucks or the
No.
other
I
activities?
think they're totally boring.
Oh yeah.
A lot of old ladies who've got no friends who go there.
Do you think that's a key element to the island? Are those
I hope
gatherings? You prefer if it weren't?
I hope.
There's a strong sense of community here
Is it what?
that's spoken about, this strong sense of community. So that's something that you didn't really personally care for?
It all depends. If you're into communities, it's probably great. There are a lot of lonely people need to be together. It's like going in an old person's home. They go there and they congregate and they talk about what a wonderful man my husband was when he died, before he died. But he wasn't really. No. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. No, it's an interesting experience here because of the location of how near everybody is. Sometimes that brings
The island isn't all of life. It's a minor part.
So it's not a defining element, you'd say, of yourself? It'd be more
Certainly
just a
not.
place
I hope
that
not.
you live. So in what way did the island become a home to you?
It was very pleasant to live in because, one, there's no crime. Two, in the old days you could make money easily. Three, what is three? There are a lot of animals on the island, which I like, including gophers. What are those other animals?
Raccoons.
Raccoons. We had a raccoon give birth to 3 babies under our patio.
Wow. It's an unlikely experience anywhere else.
I caught one too.
Wow. Did the activities that you can, such as sailing or kayaking, ever interest you? All of those outdoor activities that are really...
I tried sailing. In fact, I have 2 moorings, mainly because they're a good investment. No, I have 3 moorings. But sailing is bloody boring.
Yeah.
You see, my problem is, when I was at college, I was at college till I was 21, and I indulged in all sports. And as soon as I left college, I thought, hell, I'm not interested in sport. I mean, Americans have this fascination with football.
Right.
My God. Don't marry a man who watches football on television.
Okay. You shared earlier about your grandchildren, and so I was wondering...
I have too many.
Do you? I'm wondering their personal view of the island, since they've seen you live here throughout the years. What is their experience like visiting you here?
I don't think there's anything up here at all.
Do you think have they seen some of the change as well, your children and your grandchildren? Have they experienced the transition?
I don't think they're in the real world.
No.
They're totally spoiled.
But don't your boys live on the island, Bill? Your sons?
Yeah.
I know Mark did. and-
My 2 sons are very good at work.
Did they live near you?
What?
Did they live near you at times?
Yeah, they do. And my daughter's there too.
In this highly mobile society, that's very unlikely to have. It's unlikely to have that multi-generational shared space, and I think that's really unique that you had that with your son.
Well, in life, you've got to think ahead.
Right. Would you share about maybe your favorite story of a celebrity you may have encountered here?
Say what?
Have you ever experienced any interaction with some of the famous celebrities?
You mean sexual or physical?
Well, just it's your answer in which way you'd like to answer this question. So.
I met Buddy Epson. He shouted at me because I was sailing wrongly, and I swore at him. I met, who was the guy, he was the cowboy?
John Wayne.
John Wayne.
Classic.
I was once having my driving license test where they test your eyes. And there was a big tall guy in front of me, completely bald, and it was John Wayne. He was so nice, great guy.
Did you have other interactions with him?
No, I was way below his status.
It's probably such a weird thing to have these people.
Also, I wasn't a female.
Right. Any other people you might have encountered here over the years?
I'm not a people person. I know very few people. My last friend, I went over to England. He died a month ago. I went to his funeral.
Wow.
You don't have to have so-called friends. Like these people on the computer got 1,000 friends. How many do you have?
Online, it varies based on usage, so yeah,
Are they real?
it's an artificial
Are they real friends?
in some way. Would you share some of the life-changing events that occurred to you at Balboa Island?
Life-changing. I guess I can't think of anything to change the life. I'm disappointed at how the island has become.
In what way?
Well, because I think the rich are going to dominate. They're going to build these incredibly big houses, and it's going to ruin the ambience of the island.
What drew you here to begin with?
What?
What other factors drew you here to begin with? You're speaking about the ambiance in its early day. Were there other factors like that pulled you?
Well, in the early days, there were quite a lot of empty lots. If you had a dog, it could go there and defecate, and nobody cared. My kids would go and dig holes in those lots and have a wonderful time. Nowadays, Mommy won't let baby outside the house.
Did your children ever participate in the local activities? I know they have the community center where they teach the children how to sail, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, they did.
Some of
They
their-
were in the Balboa Island, what's it called? BRIC,
That's right.
which is a very good institution.
What activities did they partake in over the years with that organization?
I did sailing, swimming, diving.
Would you have a favorite story about a business on Marine Avenue, even if that business doesn't exist today?
Why not? Unfortunately, I do very little shopping on Ballarat. Even though my so-called cousin, his name is Maxwell. You know Maxwell's store?
Not familiar.
I
What
call
is
him
the
my
story
cousin.
for?
He's a nice guy. I hope nobody else sees this.
I think it's wonderful what you're sharing. Do you have any other stories about particular businesses from its early day? I know a lot of these places have been transformed. Do you recall the hardware store or maybe some of the other early developments?
The island stores, when I came on, were very exclusive, and they resented newcomers. Because I had the toy store and sold toys, and also sold, I think what it was. Can't think what it was. But I found a camera store, which was 2 doors away, was selling the same item, and they resented the fact that I was selling this toy because they'd sold it before me. It was very difficult. because somehow they resented newcomers.
Was it challenging to break into just the business aspect or the community as well, do you think, as it closed off?
I just ignored the business aspect.
What other products that were popular at that particular store, the toy store? What were your hot items?
That we sold?
Yes.
Oh, toys for children, dolls, beach equipment. Oh, we sold some of those bicycles on four wheels that a lot of people use now. That was a disaster.
What was the name of the storefront?
Toy box. Is what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, toy box.
What was its location?
It's on Marine Avenue.
Okay,
I only had it 1 year, that was enough.
that's right.
Still there. It was very good. Does she ask me any questions?
No, that's my aspect. She's the filmographer, so
Well, how can she get credit?
she's doing the editing.
Education.
Completing that different aspects. Are there any other stories about the island you might want to share after glancing at these walls? Is there something else that might strike you as a memory that you might have experienced?
The big problem, and I'm going to tell you the problem we have, if we have a major disaster, like a nuclear explosion or a tsunami, how will people get off the island? It would be impossible for 1,700 cars to get off in a short space of time. It could be a major, major problem.
Do you recall the tsunami evacuation that they had some years
Yeah, I
back?
refused to go. I had a tenant who got all excited and he left in a hurry. And about 20 minutes later he drove back in and he said, "Oh, I forgot my wedding photographs."
What was your reason not to follow procedures that day?
I've always rebelled against authority.
Yeah. Do your personal style. Is that,
When I was in the Army, British Army, I had what was called a CCL attitude. Do you know what that means?
no, what does that stand
CCL, couldn't care less.
for? What did your commanding officer think about that?
He said to me, "Maxwell, you say," can I use a rude word?
Go ahead.
He said, "You say fuck it to everything." I said, "You're right."
What was your experience like in the war?
Very good. If you lived, it was great.
What was the climate like in Europe at that time?
Well, we had it made. We were the conquering heroes. We lived the life of luxury. The poor Germans had nothing. And we were living on incredible. We took all the mansions and we had it made.
What area did you invade?
I finished up in Hamburg. Hamburg.
Right.
It's a great place.
What years did you serve?
I said I was in the British Army from 1942 to 48.
What was,
We only got paid a little compared to the Americans.
when did you meet your wife?
When I met him, I met him in the jungle
In the jungle?
in Africa.
Wow, what year was that?
I met her in 1951 in South Africa.
What brought you to South Africa? What was her reason for traveling there? Was there?
I used to work in the gold mines.
Wow. What was that like?
Hot.
I'd imagine.
Hot and smelly.
Wow. Huh. What year did you marry?
God, I should have never done it. 52.
Wow. Shortly after, about a year.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you marry in the States or was it in Africa? Or
Yeah, I married her. I was working there.
when you were working there. And then what year did you move back to America. So you moved to Balboa Island 58,
No,
right?
no. I went from Africa back to my employment in England, and I gave notice the first day I got back, and they gave me 2 months' pay to leave. They were so glad to get rid of me. And with that money, I said to my wife, we'll go to America. She said, no, we can't leave the British Empire, we'll go to Canada. That was the biggest mistake we ever made. So after a few months there, we came to America. But I've also lived in New Zealand.
What's your favorite place to live? Since
What?
you've seen quite a bit, is there a particular favorite place you've lived over
Yeah, I
years?
live in France,
That would be,
southern France.
for what reason?
They live, we don't live here, we exist.
What was the culture like, or is it currently like that drew you there?
Because their life is so easy, they'll have like a 3-hour lunch break. They'll eat much better food than we'll ever have. And they just enjoy life.
Have you recreated that everywhere you go, that simple element of relaxation and the
Try to.
do you believe the idea of home is where the heart is, and that you could carry
Well, what?
the idea of home is where the heart is, and you can take that anywhere?
Who made that up?
Well, that's a common saying, and I just wonder if it's been true to you since
Well, what is
you
home?
travel. That's the
Home is
idea.
where you are now.
Hmm.
You know, people have this possessions.
Right.
Where do you live?
Irvine.
Tough place.
Right.
There's some strange people there.
Is there anything else to kind of conclude this interview that
Yeah,
any remarks?
time to change those picture frames.
Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate your contribution to this project.
May I say something that you are and your charming associate are very good.
Thank you so
You have a
much.
good sense of humor. You ask good questions, and you'll do very well.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Well, that concludes our interview.